Hi everyone. I'm going to cover the wrist and hand bones for our wrist and hand joint unit. In front of me today on the table is the right wrist and hand of our skeleton. I'm going to try to always stick with this right hand because it'll be easier for you. So if you imagine opening up your hand and setting it next to the skeleton video, then you will be able to follow the bones along. I'm going to try to get as close as I possibly can. So let me scan up a little bit. Here's our radial head, and our radius follows all the way down. You'll see that at the end here, what is called the distal end of the radius. It's very thick. It will always be on the thumb side when your palm is up, and this is a palm up or a supinated view. So again, we follow our radial head, we go all the way down. This is laterally. This is the distal end of the radius, and of course that's our thumb side. Whereas the opposite side, I won't be able to go all the way up, that's going to be our ulna bone. I'll go on this side. And the ulna is going to follow along, and that's what the ulnar bone looks like. That's also the distal end. Here, this bumpy protrusion, and right here on the end, they're both called the styloid processes. The styloid processes. So you've got your radius bone, ulna bone. These are both called the distal ends, but this protrusion here on the outside, that's a styloid process, and over here is a styloid process. All right, now we go to carpals. I always make the joke, we drive cars with our hands, so your wrist bones are composed of carpals. We have tarsals for our ankle bones because there's tar on the road. So these are our carpals. Our ankle bones are called our tarsals with the T. And then we've got the metacarpals. And then your phalanges are your fingers. So let's start with our carpals. We have kind of like, it's almost like two rows. So let me get the pen point so that I can point out to you. Our first one right here, it's this bone. It also has like the little screw kit in it. But that bone right there is called trapezium. Trapezium. Second carpal bone is this little guy, kind of looks like a little pea almost. That is called trapezoid. So we have trapezium, trapezoid. Our next bone, it's bigger. It includes that hook. It's this guy right here. It's kind of in the shape of a head, like your noggin on top of your neck. And this bone is called capitate. Capitate. Then this next bone next to it has a little hook on it. It's a rather large bone. This is all a part of it and in here. But if I can give you like a side view of it, which is pretty cool, it's got like a little hook shape to it. Right there. Think you can see it? Got kind of like a little bit of a 3D view to it, a 3D view. All right. And so that is called hamate with an H. Hamate. We will move in. Let me get my location. All right, so that is our hamate bone. So we've got trapezium, trapezoid, capitate, and then hamate, H for hook. It's got like a little hook. Now we're going to do kind of like that next row down. This bone right in here, that's scaphoid. That's your scaphoid bone. This bone gets broken a lot. When we go to, if we're falling and we brace ourselves and we put our hand out, this is the bone that breaks all the time. It's the most common. It's called scaphoid. Then this bone right here, lunate, because it's kind of in the shape of like a moon slice. And then I've got two funny ones here. There's actually one on top of the other. This red and blue with the hook coming out of it. Honest, I'm telling the truth, the name is pisiform. Pisiform. Everybody laughs. Everybody knows with this bone. It's called pisiform. Underneath, and I will show you in a minute, a tough name to say, but it's underneath, it's like T-R-I, triquetrum. And I'm going to move over so I can give you a better 3D of what pisiform and triquetrum looks like. There we go. So right here is pisiform. And underneath, and it kind of looks like an ice cream cone bottom, is your triquetrum. So the pisiform looks like the ice cream cone, the ice cream, and triquetrum is underneath like the cone, the ice cream cone. And there you have your carpal bones. So in summary, trapezium, trapezoid, capitate, hamate, scaphoid, lunate, on top, pisiform, on the bottom, triquetrum. And now we have metacarpals. Metacarpal number 1, which is the thumb. Metacarpal 2, pointer finger. Well, it's not finger. The bone, the metacarpal of that finger. Metacarpal number 3, metacarpal 4, metacarpal 5. So just to show you where your metacarpals are in your own hand. When I bend my fingers, those are my phalanges, but my palm, most of my palm is my metacarpals. The high part of my heel, from about the heel, like underneath the heel where the bendy part of your wrist is, that's going to be where those carpal bones are. So metacarpal 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then here, from that point up, these are your phalanges. Your digits, pointer finger, middle finger, ring finger, and pinky, those have 3 sections: proximal, middle, distal. Proximal bone, proximal phalange, middle phalange, distal phalange. Here's your thumb. Your thumb only has 2 parts. It looks like 3, but this is metacarpal. Here's your proximal and your distal. So thumb only has 2 parts of the phalange, whereas the other 4 fingers have 3. So this is number 1, digit 1, digit 2, digit 3, digit 4, and digit 5.